A few weeks back, we dragged this car across the state, kicking and screaming. It was about 1,000 miles of driving. The water pump failed. I had to borrow someone's old beater white truck, but we did get it home. It is here now. It still has a lot of issues, and in this video, we're gonna be addressing a bunch of those. First up, the yaw sensor. It's the sensor that detects when you're going around a corner. Right now, it's causing us to not have any traction control, as well as lighting up the dash like a Christmas tree. Let's get that taken care of. So right here, we have our old sensor just rolling around. I unplugged it because it was causing the wheels to just straight up lock up. All right, the only way to see if the errors are gone is to take the thing for a drive, so let's do that. When I turn, the car brakes. I'll bet it's just because the sensor isn't mounted yet. It's getting some weird readings. Like when I go around a corner, it thinks I'm sliding when I'm not. I probably need to remove the seat and mount that sensor properly because it is supposed to be bolted to the floor in a specific orientation. So I guess we'll do that and see if that fixes it. Unfortunately, it's a lot of work just to see if it fixes it, you know? Oh, it's pretty wet under here. That's not good. Where did all that water come from? Obviously, I have to wonder if the previous owner knew about this. This is soaked. There's even a little bit of rust where the seat bolt's down. Now, where would this go? I mean, based on the length of this wire, it can't be too far away from here, but I see nowhere to bolt it to. I do wonder if it was already wet when I got it, or if it got wet from me parking it in the rain while I had it. So we do have two bolts here, but it's almost like there's supposed to be some sort of bracket, so then you can bolt this down like that. But obviously I am missing the bracket, and these bolts are way too far apart for the two on my sensor. So I've got this picture on eBay of one with the whole bracket intact. And so I think based off of that it's supposed to go down like this. I'm gonna go grab some VHB and just stick it down, and then we'll go for a drive without the seat in and see if it's still being weird. So freaking wet under there. I'm gonna have to let the seat, leave the seat out and let it dry for a while. Okay, so then this goes just a little something like. Man, I can tell someone's been in there before. Some of the plastic is broken, that sort of thing. Let's see if just sticking that thing right there fixes it. Okay, I just tried flipping it around 180 degrees. Let's see if that does anything. Oh God, still the same thing. Try like that. I'm just trying different orientations at this point, honestly. Very strange. I guess there's one more orientation I haven't tried, so I guess we'll try this. Oh, we might have finally gotten the orientation right. Hey, no brakes locking up when we go around corners. Look at that. Wow, normalcy. Let's see if traction control actually works. Let's try and do a little burnout. Yeah, it works as expected. Let's try to give her a little flick here. Oh! That was exactly what it was supposed to do. It grabbed the front left tire to try and correct my skid. I think we have fixed this car. And honestly, the other sensor might be okay. It might have just been throwing those errors because the sensor was in the wrong orientation the whole time. Okay, so now I've got the old sensor hooked up. Let's see if it works now that it's in the correct orientation. Oh yeah. The sensor was just floating around loose, and that's why it was throwing errors. That is such a relief to have it fixed. Let me get this carpet propped up, and we'll have to let it sit here and dry out for a while. And we didn't even need this at all. I guess I'll throw it on the parts shelf. It was like 80 bucks or something. All right, I got a fan here. We're gonna stick this under the carpet, and that should help it dry out. Man, I think this fan's a little tired. I'm also gonna reach around under the driver's seat and see if there's any water in there. Okay, I'll dry under there. I think we just have a water problem on the passenger side, which I hear is a somewhat common issue on these cars. So yeah, I guess I'll leave this fan to run overnight and come out and make sure it's dry, and then we'll put it back together. All right, it's been a couple of days. I had to edit a video, but the carpet is definitely dry. I have an appointment that I need to leave for in about 7 minutes. I'm going to see if we can get the car put back together so I can take it because I want to. Currently, I'm peeling up this VHB tape so I can apply a fresh sheet so we get a nice good stick. Really want to make sure this thing stays put, obviously. And then of course we lay the carpet back down. We've got our airbag connector right here. Very careful to get the orientation of this bolt right, of this seat belt, so it's not twisted. And check this out, we only have one light left, and that's the brake light. Ignore the low fuel light. I'm guessing that's something to do with the handbrake not working, though I'm not actually seeing any codes for it in the car, so I don't know. Those are honestly the two biggest issues I was worried about, the airbag light and the traction control. Both of them fixed without any new parts needed. So I just got back. I was just thinking I might throw the plates in here and throw them under the floor so they're out of the way. But it turns out my cooler leaked. All right, so this is our cooler. We just got a bag of ice in here on top of some stuff. It was worse than I thought. This is all full of water in the battery tray here, this stuff. I do have a vacuum, so I guess we're gonna try to wet vac that out. All right, now it's gonna get the same treatment as the passenger floor well with the fan here. I don't think I'll be doing that cooler solution again, though at least I had cold beverages, you know? Man, it's been about a week since you saw that clip. I was busy editing all of the videos. The trunk did dry out nicely. We are gonna pop open the hood here, and the washer fluid system does not work. There's our old nozzle, and here is a new one I got off of eBay. So our pump is just right down here. Very easy to access, but will it be easy to replace? A little washer fluid in there. And now, don't tell me this thing is just gonna leak all the washer fluid. Oh boy, we have a fountain. Get the new one in there. God, I need to get a container. I don't have a container. Okay, well, have to probably renew the other day. Let's try and get this thing in here. Oh God, I just let it even more loose. Okay. Oh God. Okay, let's get the pipe back on here. I kind of figured there'd be some mechanism so that didn't happen, but I guess I expected too much of the engineers at BMW. I seem to have gotten it back together just before every single last drop leaked out. Let's see if it works. All right, if this doesn't work, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Oh, hey! All right, we are gonna be street legal here. These little license plate lights are pretty loose, and one of them is out. I'll have to look up how to remove those and see if we can get those replaced. So actually, yeah, it looks like for these things, you can just straight up get whole new assemblies that have LEDs built into them instead of incandescent. And so, considering I have a bulb out anyways, I'll probably just get LED ones. All right, those are on the way, but for now, let's just put this guy back in. So it looks like for some reason this plate holder, it slides back and forth, and it's not centered, I don't think. And yeah, this thing has never been centered on this car because there would be holes up here for the license plate to go into, and there just aren't. Very strange. The real question though is, how am I gonna mount the front one? There is currently no way to mount a front plate on this car. We might have to order a part that mounts it to the tow hook or something. Let's go investigate. So yeah, this bumper up here has been repainted. I'm not too worried about it, but there is a little spot for a tow hook up here. All the options for tow hook plate mounts seem kind of crappy, so I'm just gonna go with the cheapest one, and we will find out if it works when it gets here. Meanwhile, the classic. So just had a quick look, and we had that water issue in the passengers area, so we are going to just jack up the car, pop off the rear wheel, and see if we can remove those drain plugs, because they are very possibly clogged. Well, I don't think it's totally clogged, but there's definitely some schmutz in it. Apparently common wisdom is just to leave these off, and so that's what I'm gonna do here. Okay, this one's perfect. This one's in really good shape. The one on the other side was not, but we're already this far. We might as well leave it off. All right, and this box of bolts from Dewell, that is very high quality. As you can see, we have our new Oh God, I'm gonna pick those up. Our new license plate mount, and we're gonna try and put it on, see if it fits. It was really cheap, so I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't. And then we have, it looks like 8 positions. I don't know why they didn't do 9 that we can put this in. I'm thinking this one's probably the best for us. Keeps it right out of the way. My biggest issue with this product is that instead of welding the nuts to the back of it like they should have, so they're captive or something, they just include them loose. So it is a real pain to get the plate mounted. Well, we'll have to see if that sags over time, because as you can see, I can just kind of rotate it, and there's not really anything I can do about that. I cinched down on it as hard as I could, but other than that, I think it looks pretty slick, and it meant we didn't have to drill in the bumper here. We didn't have to bother buying the OEM BMW part. This piece of junk was only about like 16 or 17 bucks, so I guess we'll have to see how it lasts, but right now I think I'm pretty happy with it. Well, and that's what it looks like from a distance. Not my favorite thing in the world, but not too bad. Oh, and by the way, look forward to a video on this big blob. It's been broken for about a year now, which is incredibly embarrassing, and I'm gonna finally be getting it fixed. As for the BMW, I think I'm pretty happy with that. I don't know what parts are gonna come in next, but I guess cut to when I'm installing those. Just invited my partner Leah out to look at my job, and she pointed out that this plate starts with BBC, which obviously stands for Big Black Car. Not anything else, that's for sure. Okay, now back to actually working on the BBC. So I've been daily driving this car, and I went to put the top up, and it was very slow and made bad noises, and I've been too nervous to put it back down yet, so we're gonna try that right now. Wait, oh, that was fine. Oh. Is it self-healing? I think it's self-healed. I'm gonna say it's self-healed, and I'm not gonna worry about that unless it does break. All right, it's been quite a few days in which time we actually got the Crown Vic back on the road. If you missed those, I think you should go check them out. It's kind of interesting. Plus, we took it on a massive adventure that didn't go completely smoothly. Anyways, let's start with the easiest of these 3 things that I've got in now. All right, so these are what we ended up as our license plate lights, and if you can hear, this one is actually already rattling inside, so I really don't know how long they're gonna last, even though apparently they did pass QC according to that sticker. And we got something, okay. So instead of requiring any actual soldering or anything, these things just basically have a light bulb socket, so you plug that in as if it's a light bulb, and then you just pop this back up in there. However, I'm not gonna do that yet until we test it. All right, so yep, both of these do put out lights, so let's stick them back up in here. All right, like I said, that was the easy one. Let's turn off my light here and see how they work. That's kind of interesting. They're honestly a little too throwy. They're not, you know, floody enough, so they don't spread their light quite right. Overall, I do like the color temperature better on a car though, because it sort of more matches with the LED taillights back here. All right, with that done, it's time to move on to the next easiest thing, which is badges. So these badges actually are a very common failure point on these cars. I actually looked at a few different BMWs that had the same issue with the failing badge. This one on this side is not as bad. You'll see the other side in a second, but apparently this should just, yeah, do that so you can actually replace the light bulb. And then I think we can take this over to the bench to actually do the badge replacement, because I believe this might be glued on, as my new one comes with some VHB tape on it. So as you can see, the one I pulled off the other side is much worse. A lot more of the blue and white is coming off. I don't care too much about looks generally, but it's a BMW and I want people to know that I'm rich. So I need to have these badges looking their best. Well, hey, look at that. That actually really wasn't too bad. And also, my masking tape was unnecessary because they were smart and put a couple of pins on here for me to line it with. These do say BMW on them, so I'm guessing that they are the original part, whereas these do not say BMW on them. Probably not been done before, which of course is unsurprising. Not even gonna bother to clean it because it does have an incredibly sufficient amount of adhesive. Just like that. Let's put a bunch of pressure on it all the way around. Now we gotta get this one off. So I've actually had good success with just sticking a screwdriver in between them and prying, because the chunky reflector is much less likely to bend than the badge, and so the badge will bend up and the reflector will stay in place and be fine. And that time, all the adhesive even came off. All right, here's the one we already did. It just goes in there like so. Now to get the other one back in. Install it like so. Get it right side up and then line it up and stick it on there. And of course, they both still are completely functional. So in a lot of cars, you will have your side marker integrated into the tail light, and the tail light will kind of wrap around so you don't have to have two things. However, I believe whoever designed this really wanted to have this one tail light unit, and it did not comply with the laws, so they had to slap a side marker right here. However, this is out, and you might notice I have a complete replacement here. That's because these don't have bulbs in them. They're just little LED modules, and you have to replace the whole thing. And being aware of that, I just decided to go with OEM because I want this to last as long as possible, because this job is sort of a pain. Plus, it was only about an extra 10 or 15 bucks as compared to something off of eBay. Now, I believe we basically need to remove the entire fender liner to get access to this side marker back here. Where did that go? I found it. Well, that's probably never going back the same. So that's our part right in there. Okay. Oh, what the hell is going on here, dude? Come on. Oh good, our pins inside of there are bent. This is a brand new OEM part. There, that felt like it went in. Let's go turn on the car and see if this thing is actually a functional part though. Wait a second. The other one works, but it is way dim, so we are gonna have to replace that one too. That is a bummer, because these things are like 60 bucks a pop, and they're a pain in the ass to replace, so let's get this one thrown back in though. Now check this out. You can't see it, but someone went in here with a screwdriver trying to pry this thing out from the front. That blows my mind, dude. As I've said on this car before, I'll say it again, I prefer incompetence to malice, and this definitely, yet again, points to incompetence. All right, now for the joy of trying to get this thing to go back together. So I hope you can see here, this is roughly the same brightness as this. Let's go over to the other side, where this is actually completely off right now. Oh, there it goes. So actually it's not bad once it comes on. I would check the connector if it were easy to get to, but considering it can do half brightness, I'm thinking the actual issue is inside the assembly. Plus, it's probably just as old as the other one, so we might as well replace it anyways, because it's gonna need it. So I guess I'll order that up and you'll see that next. That's all I got for tonight though, so I'm gonna head inside. All right, so that side marker's in the mail. However, there is one thing I did forget to check on, and that's all the rest of the lighting. Right now, the car is in reverse, but the reverse lights are not illuminated, so I've ordered new ones of those. However, there is also another light right here. I can see the bulb in there, and they aren't illuminating. And from my research online, this one is supposed to be a rear fog light, which if you're unaware, in Europe, there's a requirement that when your fog lights are on, there should be an extra bright running tail light. And so a lot of European cars like my Volvo have that. And on this car, I think it should be right here, and it does not work. And then I believe that this one over here is supposed to illuminate under heavy braking. However, I'm not entirely sure, so we are gonna just have to go do some heavy braking and see what happens, to see if either of these or both of them light up, so we can figure out if the bulbs are out. All right, get it up to about 30 or so, and then we're gonna slam on the brakes. We'll try it again a little faster this time. There was a woman who saw me do that. I waved. She did not wave back. A lot of times people don't understand when you're just trying to test something to see if it works, and they just think you're being a hoodlum. Oh, hey, look at that. Okay. They both lit up, so I guess we don't need to replace those. That's really interesting. All right, I got these things in, and as you can see, they are absolutely packed with LEDs. And actually I checked, and they do sit in here like this, so all the light will be blasted to the left and right, because this is a long, narrow slit. Let's get these things thrown in here though. Thing is, this light doesn't look entirely all that broken. This light also is not physically broken appearing. Also, check this out. One of these is a black plastic and one of these is a white plastic. So for some reason, this has been replaced. I wonder if there's a deeper issue with this where the lights don't work at all. All right, let's go check it in reverse. In most cars, even if you have it in reverse while the car's off and the ignition is on, the lights will come on. But maybe this car is smart enough to only turn them on when the car is on. So yeah, those still completely aren't working. There is one more thing we can try. Incandescence can be burnt either way, The LEDs do have a polarity, so let's try flipping them around. Yeah, still absolutely nothing. That is really weird because all the other lights in these assemblies obviously work. So I guess I'll have to do some research and see if I can figure anything out. Well, I've done some research and it looks like our first stop is fuses as per usual, and then our next stop is going to be the reverse switch, which should be on the gear lever. Let's go check some fuses. I've just now realized that I have no idea where the fuse box is. Let me do some research on that. All right, looks like it's accessed through the glove box. Let's see, there's a little piece of paper in here. It's almost like secret. Is this our diagram? What the hell is this? These are pictures. Can we have like text? I guess I'll try to decipher which one of these pictures means reverse. I see one for parking sensors. It's not reverse though. What the heck? This is stupid. Let me see if I find a better one online. I can imagine in the conference room right now, if we do pictures instead of text, then we only have to make one version for all markets. Only make one version that doesn't work. Ah, of course, someone has made a text diagram. Thank you very much. Reversing light is number 6. So I can use this thing to find fuse number 6. Ah, well, there's our issue. I think I have a spare one of these. All right, let's go try it again. Hey, there we go. Well, I probably didn't need new bulbs, but maybe these will help us see better when we're backing up at night. Plus, I think this really cool light goes well with the lights up here, which are also LED. Yes, I have seen the technology connections video on only using incandescents in the place of incandescents, not swapping out for LED, because if you look here, there's a lens that makes it brighter if the filament is in the right place. And with an LED replacement, the light's not going to be coming from the right place, so it'll actually be dimmer even if you have a brighter LED. I don't really think that applies to reverse lights, as they're more of an indicator rather than a safety item, so I am completely fine replacing them with LEDs. Man, that's crazy though. It is never a fuse. I'm gonna take a closer look at these and see if I should throw them in my bulb bin. These do both look completely fine. I think I will throw them in my bulb bin, and you know, if they're bad when I try them out, I can just swap them again. I do notice that the lights in here are a little paler than they should be, so maybe I'll replace those at some point, but obviously for now they work. I do wonder if they're supposed to be like red. So yeah, it does look like these are kind of supposed to be red bulbs, and someone at some point has replaced them with white bulbs. So I probably will look into getting some red incandescents because these are for safety, and so I do want the lenses to work correctly with the bulbs. All right, now to play a little bit more of the waiting game. I'll see you either when that side marker LED comes in or these brake light bulbs come in. Just a quick update from future Joel. I completely forgot about these, but I just did some research and they are supposed to be white bulbs, I guess. So I'm gonna leave them like that. They're a little pink. I guess that's just how it is. If you got any suggestions, leave them in the comments. Another $60, $70 later, we got our other side marker. It should be a breeze after the last one. Let's get this thing thrown in. Out with the old, in with the new. All right, now I bet you're gonna find this hard to believe, but we have a functional side marker there and a functional side marker over there. Hopefully we won't get sideswiped now. All right, and that out of the way, I think there's only one more thing we're gonna do in this video, and so cut to that now. This piece of plastic and these springs cost me almost $60, and they are not even OEM BMW parts. What these are for is for going right here. Currently, I had to stick my finger in here and manipulate it to get it open, and this is what I found. This is the old part, and it is missing the little tabs that open that compartment. And I really kind of wanted this to work, so I spent the $50 to $60 on a new one. I could not find a 3D model to 3D print it. I could not find it for cheaper. They all cost this much. And now I had to figure out how to install it, which I have no idea how to do because, like I said, it was broken when I bought it. This compartment doesn't open, this one that goes up here, but there's still a spring system on the handle. See what I mean? This one, actually, you can push it, but it doesn't actually do anything. This handle is a complete dummy, yet it still bends. And I think it's just so they can show you how to install this one because it goes in the same way. And then this one does the same thing, you know? Did they plan for this part to freaking break and then they wanted to charge $60 for it? That's, I don't know, man. Let's see if we can get this thing back together without it exploding apart. Something isn't right there. Like, I can get it to work, but it's not flush. Oh no! This piece is broken in multiple spots. Darn it. Well, now time to peruse eBay again and see if I can find a replacement one of those. Holy crap, $160. I think our best bet to get pieces of plastic like this, as well as the other miscellaneous missing stuff or broken stuff, is to go pull it off of a car that someone's parting out. So I'll have to keep my eye out for those. And you'll have to keep your eye out for the video on that. Of course, you could subscribe if you didn't want to have to worry about it. Another reason you might subscribe is if you want to see us take this thing camping, because that's what we're going to be doing next weekend. We're going to be driving up to a lake and hopefully having a really nice chill time, though we might also try to hit a fire lookout. If you like seeing me keep all these old cars on the road, then hit the like button, especially if you like this car. I think I'm really happy with this purchase so far. I might even make money if I were to sell this thing right now, so I think we made a good decision. And of course, leave a comment if I did anything wrong in this video, or if you noticed anything out of the ordinary. I think that's all that stuff out of the way. We are going to give this thing a much needed bath. I wanted to save it for the end of the video for some reason, but I think that was really just an excuse to procrastinate. But this thing is filthy. I have not cleaned it since we got home from bringing it across the state. Oh yeah, if you're new here, go watch those 4 videos. There was 4 videos on my purchase experience of this, which involved installing a new water pump, driving it over 1,000 miles, borrowing an old white truck. If you haven't seen those, go check them out. Those are some of my favorite videos I've made. All right, let's get on to giving this thing a bath. So I don't know if you could hear that, but that sounded terrible. And I actually have a theory. I believe that when you leave the roof down for a while, something happens where like the hydraulic fluid drains and then it doesn't quite go up right. But after you put it up once, then it goes up good after that. So I don't know what to do with this information. Maybe I should store it with the top up instead of down. Let's get this thing clean though. I guess we're on to stage 2, the touch wash. I think the general point of including this in the video is to show you that I kind of do know how to wash a car, the 2-bucket system, all that stuff. I just hate doing it, so maybe in a future video we'll see how this thing fares in an automated touchless car wash. But from a few feet away, it does actually clean up pretty darn nice. I mean, don't look closely at the wheels because they're curb rash to hell. There's a few rock chips up here on the front. But I mean, by and large, it looks decent. It's definitely in good enough condition to where it still looks like a pretty car. It doesn't look trashed. I'm gonna leave this roof partially open in hopes that it dries a little better. The interior did get a bit wet, like I said, but I think that was mostly just from the gaps in the pillarless windows. All right, well, what Joel said earlier, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment if I did anything wrong. I will see you again next week on a road trip. A short one, but it's still a trip and we're taking the road, right?